the hardest working podcast in Portland, Oregon, man.
Play no
Game. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Play No Games podcast
slash show.
And we're coming to y'all today. A monumentous day. Now, I've made up this figure and number in my head that not every YouTuber gets 100 episodes. Because after like 25 few views, after 60, a lot of people shut down.
True.
But you know, we still here, baby! We still here, baby! Like, comment, subscribe. If you like what we doing, we trying to put another 100 on y'all dome pieces. And next, I'm saying this early, when we get to 200, we're going to have 10K views. Easy.
Like on average?
On average.
Okay.
I'm saying this right now.
200 episodes.
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be super crazy. But I'm Cartier Bob.
I'm HAUS.
And I'm Arthur.
And this is the illustrious Play No Games podcast show. So before we really get into it, I want to say thank you to you guys. I really do. We made it to 100 episodes. It was $1 in a dream. Shout out to Koss. Koss was
$1.
He wasn't
That
even
was the penny.
Not even. I'm gonna share some shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man.
Do you do this every year?
No, I don't do this ever. That's the end of your breakdown.
Overshares.
It's good. That's what they want to know about our lives. So, y'all, I was keeping it bad. I almost overlooked this kid.
I believe it.
I'm keeping it 1,000%. I'll give it 1,000%. I was a graduate peer mentor, and like, you know, something in my soul, like literally,
In his soul.
something in my soul was like, why is this kid talking to me? Like, he got a good grade in his class already. Like, why is this kid talking to me? I don't know but I just want to say thank you. Without you, a lot of stuff wouldn't be possible.
Without you, Koss.
I appreciate that, Robert, and I want you to know that without you, I would have stopped this a long time ago.
You
are the caffeine we all need when we come in here and give us the energy to put on for any guests we have on. So without you, the ship doesn't sail.
Yeah, because you know I don't know why I keep saying wanted to call your podcast opening presents, but that's Aaron's.
Oh yeah,
switching stance. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I take ownership in switching stance.
No, you don't know jack.
What are you talking about? If I didn't do the things I needed to do, it wouldn't be up there.
It wouldn't. What wouldn't be up there?
Your energy for it. Let's keep it a band.
But I don't know. I'm a different cost on that show.
I know you are. You're a freak of nature.
I have to be.
Yeah, but no. So I want to say that. You think we're arguing? We're having deep conversations.
And, you know, halfway through getting to our 100th episode, somewhere around halfway through, we were able to add the missing piece.
Yeah.
It was before. I think it was like 30 something.
Really?
No, it was like a smooth 50.
No,
Cost was about right. You came in around
We've done
like
this for
50.
2 years, and you came in like about a year, I think.
Year and a half.
Yeah, you came in about 50.
It's like a year and a half.
Because Vegan Hearts was 64. How do I know this? Because I got a big brain.
But Vegan Hearts wasn't the first one. Vegan Hearts was the second one.
No, I'm saying that's when you were a guest.
That was the second one. I did two.
I'm going to have to check on that one.
So there's two.
It could have been somewhere around the 40s. I don't know.
No, but I think you are right. It is
64.
It's like early 50 or late 50s or something.
It's definitely past 50, but like we're arguing about things.
Yeah, this is the Play No Games.
The podcast is breaking up already, guys.
Yes.
Damn.
I'm coming for their lunch.
More money for me.
Oh
yeah. So yeah.
Nah,
sell your stock soon.
It's definitely been a blessing joining the ship. You know, I just I've been a passenger along the way and decided to add some Oars.
What did you say?
Oars.
Okay.
Some paddles.
Some paddles. Some oars.
Yeah.
Added some oars along the way, and so I think it's kind of helped drive the ship a little bit better. But thank you for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity. Because my podcast didn't make it 100 episodes, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
We're gonna get there.
Amen. Should we shout out the crew in the back that don't always get camera time?
Fuck the critics.
Wow.
They're the rafters right now.
Stop recording.
They're the rafters right now. Before we get to them, I'm like, even though I know we're gonna talk about this more, we're at PSU, but this is 100 episodes. I'm just curious, like, because I don't know if y'all can see, we got the drinks, we got not the popcorn, but we got the Sour Patch Kids. But I'm just curious, like, what I have something I want to say, but like, what is like podcasting? Because like, if we type y'all names, this show's gonna show up. This show's gonna show up. Yes, like you have like a carbon digital footprint. So how do y'all feel making?
Really?
Yes.
Keep going. What did I say? These motherfuckers don't believe me. They don't believe me. Thank you.
Can you tell them what he said?
Thank you to the rafters. They helping me. They the only ones that believe in me. They're the only ones that believe in me.
The Fact Dragon cleared it up. Episode 38 was the first one AJ
Let's
was
go.
on.
Okay.
I said it was in the 30s. Let's go.
All right, fuck it. Since we go on there, this is actually not the 100th episode.
I was gonna.
How about that?
It's only the 100th one that has a number in front of it.
Exactly. What's up?
The first 20, 40 or so, I told Rob, let's put a number in front of it.
Yeah. We're well past 100. We're actually at 142 videos.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck off. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody love everybody. All right.
I'm still number 38. But
He was right. He did say 38.
I'm not gonna lie. He just still fucking 38. I'm so fucking.
Let's go.
Damn, peak the mics. Why don't you?
That was loud as fuck.
Exactly. What do you call it?
No. So your question was about how do I feel about being on a podcast that then like people watch?
Yeah, we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that this is our podcast and that it's not anything that's not us.
Yeah.
It's not something that like I'm embarrassed to share with people, or like I'm embarrassed when people are like, "Oh, hey, I saw your podcast," or "Hey, I know that guest that was on your podcast." Like, "Oh, did you enjoy it?" Like that's normally the first thing I say. So, yeah, I'm fine with this being how I'm seen with my digital footprint.
I respect that too. I think I have to agree to that statement because it like the platform it's itself. There's it's me in my own image. I feel like I'm not different from this to anywhere else. And I think that's the beauty of like good representation. And I think we've established that as a team to show like all of our sides, the good, the bad, and the ugly. When we're right, we're wrong, and indifferent. Like all the sides are shown on this podcast across the board. And I think that's what also makes it beautiful is, we never know when we're always right. I mean, you never know when you're right every so often.
And that's what happens when you are a dick. Yeah. I know how to be the villain real good.
Nah, it's all love.
Oh, 1,010%. And before I even say that last thing, before we really switch gears, we really got to talk about people behind the scenes who really make the show go.
The real MVPs.
Let me tell you, stock is up in that back room.
Yeah.
Stock is up. Who's come on?
come on down. We have a mic.
Come on down, RJ to the cows. Come on down on RJ, paging RJ, Mr. 50
Raul,
points.
get down here.
Ooh,
Raul.
RJ.
Oh my God!
Fuck. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to bring and putting it next to cost.
Yeah.
What's wrong with bringing a turtle out?
You, Cos, keep your hands off of it. Keep your fucking mitts off of it. Fucking dirty monster. Anywho,
My hands are clean. I washed them. Don't worry.
I trust you.
No, you don't.
No. I trust you. But no. RJ!
Yay.
The one and only, the great one. I get it.
Welcome to 100.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So,
Yes.
you're part of the team. Like, people don't get to see your face as much, but like, literally, man, how's it feel?
It feels like I'm part of the team.
Y'all suck. Y'all just suck. Do you have anything that you would like to say about being a part of a highly successful podcast?
And running, the audio, maybe who's the best when it comes to, talking to the mic.
So the best who's talking to the mic is me.
Yeah!
Because Koss is not on the show right here. I'm on the show right now. Second best is Koss. Unless Andrew's here, then Andrew's probably second best.
I actually, my voice is loud enough to get picked up.
We're 1A, 1B, so it's okay. If he disagrees, I don't care. We're 1A, 1B. But I am glad to be part of this podcast. I get to see this turtle every Wednesday, and it's a blessing. I get to sit behind this nice wall without a hole in it every Wednesday. They haven't been promised a hole, but here we are. No hole, DB. And we need a hole. So, but I am very happy to be here. Very enjoyable. It's always good times.
Oh, likewise.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a part of this team.
I appreciate you.
I'm glad to be
we
here.
appreciate
I'm going to take
you.
me and my guest now.
Yes.
All right.
Shelly.
His name is Splash, but all right. Anywho, the man, the myth, the legend behind all the artwork, because y'all know when I was doing it.
Or when I was doing it.
I'm not doing it anymore. And the guy who's providing all the angles, come on down, Andrew.
The Fact Dragon.
The Fact Dragon. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Not even. We want Boy Wonder.
But I am.
Boo.
Come on, Fact Dragon.
You know what?
Boy Wonder. God damn it. Why are y'all doing this to my fucking prized possession? He's even working on this. So,
Hey,
as always, welcome to 100. Do you have any thoughts, feelings?
as always.
It's always 100 when you're around.
100.
All right. Sorry, what was the question?
Any
Any thoughts, feelings?
No, it's nice. It's nice being here. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
We need to work on that.
we will definitely try. It's fine.
Oh, Dictator Bob?
Yeah.
DB.
All right. Anywho.
Anything else you want to know?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think we'll share our favorite moments of the podcast once we go to our...
What's your favorite moment of the podcast?
I don't know. My first episode on.
Great answer.
Which one?
Who was the guest on that one? Or do we not have a guest?
There was no guest.
Okay.
There was no guest. We were downstairs. It
Oh,
was
at the table.
At the table before you guys got the couch.
Yes.
I think there was like 2 episodes downstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and then we moved up here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll share some of our favorite podcast moments when we...
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Andrew.
Oh, thank you.
Koss. Thank you, AJ.
I'm fine with it. Please take the fucking
Take
turtle
Splash.
out of here. Anywho, oh my gosh. I'll just say this. We'll share some of our favorite moments when we get to our celebration location. But
Yes.
I think it was, pretty true to the soil that we kind of honor that today's our 100th episode. And before we get going for our regular scheduled program, I definitely think we should toast. There's a saying that before you drink, you got to bless the bottle. And I think after 100 episodes, we got to bless the podcast for good fortune for where it's actually going to be going.
All right.
I need you to believe.
I believe.
I need you to believe. So, you guys, you don't have to be in this shot, but I need y'all to get y'all glasses. We're gonna pour some shit up. They gonna see the greatness. All right, this is us. All right, y'all got your glasses up over there? No, they don't. I've been with them too long. Cheers to a successful podcast. I appreciate y'all. This is more to come, more life. Let's do this.
Take care.
More blessings. More blessings. Ooh, that Henny White. Ooh.
Ooh, it's kind of smooth.
Sorry, splash.
You
want to put splash on that over there?
Yeah. All right.
Are we good to switch gears? Yes. All right. So, after that illustrious introduction or introduction to the episode, Robert. Robert.
Oh, wait a second.
Is it hitting it now?
Bro, that shit just hit me. Oh, shit.
Just for you.
Did it hit you? Damn.
It's fine.
Woo.
Robert talked about meeting me in college. Someone I met in college who I'm still good friends to today is actually our guest for today. Please bring to the stage Andy Pham.
Hey.
Ow, ow, ow. Here, switch spots with me.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you get the better mic.
Oh, shit. Bro, this Zay got me dancing.
Oh, we about to have an episode, y'all.
Oh, damn. I'm lit.
Okay. So,
That's it. I don't need no more of these.
all right. So back to our regularly scheduled show.
Thank you.
We have on our good friend here, Andy Pham. Have you been?
Yes,
have you been
sir.
on the podcast before?
Yeah,
Yes,
this is
sir.
my first time.
This is
thank
your
you-
first time? Okay.
Yeah,
We've
thank you
talked
for
about it
having
for a
me.
minute.
Yeah,
Of
we
course,
talked
yeah.
about it. I mean, great supporter of the podcast. I love what you guys are doing.
Yes.
So, just actually excited to be a guest for the first time. So
There you go.
That's dope.
you for
I'm
having me.
excited. I'm excited to learn about you, man. I peeped your few grams you got.
yeah,
I gave them all three.
Oh, okay.
I peeped
Yeah.
your few grams
It's like
out
you
here.
have to do a
Yeah.
little Instagram check in.
Yeah, of course. So I guess we can just. Oh, sorry. Did you?
You were leading since you're a guest. Well, but before we go,
Yes.
I have been given a new role, not dictator, but before you take over the reins, I'm gonna need you make sure we're all speaking into the mic. One fist away. Try your best. Straight in the front. You can definitely put a pillow on your back. Get comfortable. Just make sure you're talking into that mosaic. And all I'll say is, we're about to do our very first.
He on that alcohol.
He on that.
I'm not gonna lie, this Zay is actually pretty powerful. I'm not gonna lie.
That's hilarious.
I think I poured too much into my cup. But anywho,
Yeah.
It's about to be a hell of an episode.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Whenever Robert drinks any bit of alcohol, it's fun.
here we go. I am not a drunk. But
we didn't say you drink all the
AJ,
time.
our favorite segment to start off.
Oh, I thought Cost was so
Or-
good.
Oh, are we? I thought we were gonna skip playing.
Oh,
no
we're
games
skipping
because
that?
we did that intro.
My bad. Can't.
All right. Yeah, we'll just hop right into it. So, my good friend Andy, tell
Hey.
tell us a little about what's Renegade Motorsports, what's Engine House, how does Engine House fit in, and then kind of
Yeah.
where you came in with that.
Yeah, so Renegade Motorsports is aftermarket shop. So pretty much we R&D products so that S2000 platform basically has new products, gets rejuvenated to essentially keep the platform alive. They also R&D a couple of other products with other platforms as well, but mainly just a Honda platform. And so Engine House was kind of like the intersecting point of pretty much motorsports and clothing, and so that's
Yes.
where I kind of
Mm.
jumped in. So Engine House is just an automotive apparel company that we kind of
Dope.
branded to essentially just kind of go hand in hand with like our shop, and then just also with clothing. Two passions that we're pretty much essentially combining together to
course.
kind of share to the world. So yeah.
That's super dope. when you talk about motorsport as like this major player, what got you into like cars and things like that?
Yeah, I guess like one of like a personal story of why like I pretty much got into cars was my mom actually. So she's kind of always enjoyed like really nice cars. Like I remember growing up as like a little kid, she actually had like a 3 Series BMW.
Oh
And
wow.
mind you,
Okay.
I think nowadays like it is a pretty like kind of standard to mill like kind of BMW car.
Mhm.
But to me it was really significant because my parents didn't really have a lot, especially them being immigrant, and then just also moving over to the United States. Um, one of those things that is like kind of like those assets, or I guess like kind of property that kind of represents like your value in a say in the old times is like your car. And so like she always took care of it. That was like kind of like her pride and joy.
Yeah.
And so essentially when I was really young, I always really enjoyed car rides. Another thing too is also just our family just kind of always been around cars and stuff like that as well. So I think just generally from like a background standpoint, I felt like everyone that was like kind of in my like family circle was just always into cars. I feel like everyone always like had a slight deeper appreciation of cars. And so I guess like when it transitioned over from just like liking cool cars and then into like getting more into like the technical aspects about why certain cars are liked in certain communities, that just kind of just generally like driven my passion over time. And especially like nowadays, when the internet has so much wealth of knowledge, I think like it allows other people to connect to the motorsports industry or just cars in general. So it's a
Mm.
more obtainable, it's more easier for people to kind of get into it, whether you had a car or not. I think it's just such a growing community and such like a powerful community that I feel like people tend to grasp it. And I felt like my personal connection with it growing up made it seem for me why I gravitate towards it nowadays.
100%. I had a very similar type of story to why like
Yeah.
I also enjoy cars is that immigrant background. Like we didn't grow up with a lot, but once my parents' businesses succeeded, then it's like we show that off through like the type of car we would own. So for me, it was like my mom bought an Audi, and then my sister bought an Audi. So then I felt like it was my turn, type of thing. So kind of like that's how it starts. I feel like within the community a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like it speaks a little more to like the immigrant mindset too.
For sure. And I think it's just like a lot of people in general to like see as like a transaction of success.
Yeah.
And so I think like it's kind of like also important from looking from like a minority standpoint that like, I think the appreciation of having a nice car and just in general when people actually do show up in a nice car that they appreciate, that they love, they worked hard for, it
Mm.
only just kind of more or less like shows when you kind of like drive your car and you experience your car. So I mean I personally agree. Like I think like um especially having like a personal connection with like cars and stuff too. I think like um I feel like a lot of people either have like kind of two ways of like why they got into cars. I think like one of them is like a personal connection with either someone or a group of people that kind of show you about like what's like a cool car or like why do they like cars, or the other one that's like kind of like the big main driving factors of a lot of like younger audiences when it comes to motorsports and just cars in general is Fast and Furious. And speaking of,
Mhm.
it's even more funnier that Fast and Furious 10 I believe is coming out like this
X.
week. X,
X.
yes.
Yeah.
Part
So-
one of three.
yeah, and it's crazy.
Bad bitches,
Trilogy
bro.
on a 10th movie? Like I didn't doesn't that
Bro.
technically qualify as a 13 movies instead of 10? I have no idea, but I just thought it was the
The
funniest thing.
baker's
But
dozen.
no, I think like Fast and Furious like plays a pretty significant part in a lot of
100%.
people. And so like I think, with the actors and like the cars that they brought throughout the whole entire series, like it's so relatable that people just kind of want, like a cool
Dude.
car.
If it wasn't for Fast and Furious, R34s wouldn't be like $200,000.
Yes, yeah. Any significant car that's came out of the Fast and Furious series wouldn't have not been worth its value had it not been for its movie
Movie role.
movie role essentially. And so
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it's also in a
Specifically the Japanese scene.
yeah, especially the Japanese cars. I think like when it comes to like the market in the US, I feel like a lot of people didn't really see a lot of appreciation for them up until like a later point in time. And so like a lot of these like Japanese cars that are kind of like introduced into these movies, a lot of people kind of were like, whoa, like I've never seen that. It's like, what is that? And like people that have been doing it for such a long time know these cars, but it's really like the first time like uh I believe like a lot of people actually saw some pretty rare cars like in a very like early 2000s, and that's when like
Hmm.
the car scenes like from my knowledge, especially when
Especially
people,
like the modern car scene.
yeah,
I'd say like the car meet,
yep,
where you also like you have the meets where like they they do burnouts and they do
yep,
donuts and all
yep,
that stuff, and like the drag races, all that modern version of it, I believe as well is that it stemmed from the original Fast and Furious movies.
yep,
And kids want to live that life, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna save up, buy like a Mitsubishi Eclipse,
yep, or a
and
little Honda Civic,
I'm
yep,
gonna I'm
you
gonna
know,
rice I'm gonna rice the fuck out of
yeah,
it. I'm gonna put underglow on it. I'm gonna put wrap it in purple
yeah. I mean, yeah,
wrap and
put a
whatnot.
bunch of chrome on it too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was a
Yeah.
really big thing too. But
Put
yeah,
some speakers, put some fucking
like double subs, like
double
18,
subs in the back.
18
Yeah, yeah.
subwoofers and like
Yeah.
20-inch rims, and so like I just, I think it's
Can't
like,
be fast, but you can be loud.
yep, and like it's so funny, but like nowadays, like it's even cars like have trends and stuff where people are now starting to
Yeah.
trend back and like
Now like
doing
underglow wasn't
underglows.
cool for a while. Now underglow's kind of cool again.
Now I gotta know. Now I gotta
Speakers
know.
aren't in right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like that. Okay, yeah. Go
Now,
ahead.
no, I'm saying now I gotta know. We talking. Hey, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a car guy, but
Totally fine.
I feel like that has to be introduced into the conversation where like
Mhm.
I just whatever. But we'll get to there. I have a question about that. But the
Mhm.
question is, y'all talking about all this shit, which is dope. Which I'm just curious because. So what is Andy pulling up in? That's the question. Like what's in his
Oh,
garage? What is his what is his whip of choice?
Yeah. So right now I'm driving a 2002 Mazda Miata, so a little
Okay,
drop top.
yeah.
And like, I think like the coolest part about that car is that it's so obtainable, and I feel like everyone can actually like get it, like if they saved up a little bit of money and then like actually bought it. But I think the significance about it is just almost as similar as a Honda Civic. It's like a very strong entry level car that a lot of people can get with little to like no money. They can start like modifying their cars, which is like their first introduction into motorsports, modifying the car to essentially be used as an off-road term, and then essentially just more or less like getting into the actual culture of like building your car, um, aesthetically making your car like the way that you want it to, and it's just like kind of just more or less like
Blank
it comes,
slate.
yeah, a blank slate that kind of becomes like your extension of like your um personality, I would say, or just in general like what you kind of see like your car like being made out to.
So what's your personality?
I don't know. I think for me, like I like a little bit of aggressive, but like kind of just like standard. And the reason why I say that is because I like fitting into the crowd, but at some point in times, like they're just little flares to make you a little bit different than everyone
I'll
else.
say
Like,
this: the way he's dressed right now
Yeah.
does not match his car.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
His car is
Yes.
super clean. It's all white. He's got a body kit on it, which is I think it's the cleanest Miata actually in Portland. I've told him that too, because I see a lot of Miatas that deserve to be in the dumpster.
Oh man.
But his Miata is stupid clean.
What
Not
you-
saying his outfit isn't clean. But
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say what you
I mean,
said.
yeah,
His
it's coming for
outfit.
you.
the outfit pops.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the outfit pops. His car is like a smooth criminal.
If y'all could do a close up, look at this man right here. Look at this man right here. Look, this man is white hot.
Yeah.
He's Miami Nights ready.
Well, you just
Oh,
came back
yeah.
from Hawaii too, right?
Yep, just
Yeah,
came
there
back
you
from
go.
Hawaii.
Y'all see that
A
skin?
little bit cooked, but like it's okay.
Glowing.
Yeah, I had to get the
Glowing.
little Hawaii glow.
I feel it.
Yeah.
So you talked about cars and culture
Mhm.
and certain cultures buying certain cars. For me, culture's a big. From your knowledge, what cultures buy what cars?
Oh, that is such a good question. Actually,
Ooh.
that is such a good question.
I mean, it just really depends. So like for me, like I think it's super funny is because like one of the talking points that we've always talked about at the shop at Renegade is the NSX. So this car was like kind of built to kind of like compete with like certain markets at the time.
Built in like the mid '90s
Yep.
by Honda.
Yep, by Honda. And so essentially like it was around the time that like supercars and like Ferrari and like a bunch of other like big names are kind of like making very sleek and exotic cars. And so Honda wanted to do their little take on a car. And so I think it's kind of funny because like for like that part of the culture, like a lot of people like I think Ludacris like maybe has one or something like that. But
Ludacris is a big Acura guy.
yeah, and he's a big Acura guy. But like, I mean, just in general, like it comes down to like pretty much like your preference. Like a lot of like the Japanese cars, like a lot of like the cultural stem is that they're reliable. Like people really like enjoy like the fact that you can beat them up and like they last for a long time, or like BMW's luxury. So it appeals to like certain cultures. Like I think like from a music culture, I think a lot of people nowadays kind of like view like BMWs, Audis, and like uh Bugattis are like just very exotic cars, like kind of like the standard run of the mill. Like these are the kind of cars that you would get. And then some other people just kind of like enjoy like from a culture standpoint, like I just want reliability. I just want a car that I want to just pretty much like drive all the time, go point A, point B. And then there's like the luxury like extensions of like normal brands. So like Toyota has Lexus and Honda has Acura and Nissan, I believe, has
Infinity.
Infinity.
Yeah.
And so like essentially like it just kind of like goes down to like pretty much what you appreciate.
Yeah.
And so like it just varies based on like culture, but like I know for sure like um some like minorities such as like my parents, like they enjoy Lexuses and BMWs because they feel like it's a status, a symbol, that they want a car that's reliable, but also shows like a little bit of like flair. So like that's kind of like generally like I think like when I look at, Asian families, they usually trying to like they usually pick like Toyotas and like Lexus and like BMWs, Audis, and Mercedes. And so like that's kind of like a example of like a culture. And so like it just really comes down and boils down to pretty much like what you need in a car, but also like what you appreciate. Certain brands have like certain entities and like a lot of like factors that kind of like make them why they're really known. So like BMW has like heritage. A lot of people really appreciate heritage. Porsche is like kind of like that genuine like kind of like motorsports where people really enjoy a car that like wants to be really fast and like they want to have it look sleek and they want it to resemble luxury, but at the same time it looks pretty standard. So you want to stay kind of under the radar. Audi is kind of like luxury for me. Like I think their interior is like really beautiful in terms of like their stitching, their quality, and
I think
also
they've passed Mercedes, honestly.
yes, yeah,
I think Mercedes taken a big hit in luxury.
yes, I think from my perspective, like I think Audi has like leveled up in terms of like just like pure innovation. I think if
too.
you like kept up with like in terms of like the news of cars, like they're just going for it. Like they're making like electric trucks at this point now. A lot of like self-automating like parts of like the cars. Like I think like in general, like I said, like it's based on like the kind of like resemblance of what you want in a car, like will kind of gravitates to your culture, like your culture's need, I guess. So like
I'll give you guys an example with Audi and kind of how they're pushing technology is like in the A8, which is their luxury sedan.
The
It
big
has
body.
yeah,
if there's someone that's gonna hit T-bone you, the car lifts. The car will lift you right before impact, so the guy hits your frame, not the door.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the car literally, because it has air suspension in it, it'll go like this. So then like it hits the frame, which is then gonna keep you safer. Stuff like
Yeah.
that, and like if you go over a pothole, it'll
it will
pull
literally lift up.
it'll
and
lift the wheel up
yep.
so you don't hit the pothole.
So we got Optimus Prime cars.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty
That's
much.
like that happens. Like people don't realize like Tesla's cool and all. Mercedes already passed Tesla in terms of like technology and electric cars. The new EQS is far superior than a Tesla. Range, technology, reliability, all this stuff. So it's
And
like
looks. I think
And looks, yeah.
I think like,
So, like,
Tesla's a little
yeah.
cookie cutter, but
Tesla was
Mercedes-
first, but you give dude these engineers that work for Mercedes, BMW,
Audi,
Audi,
yeah.
Lexus, dude. Some of the stuff they do is artwork, and they know what they're doing.
So do some of these cars know about date nights? You know, how does the cars help for date nights? You know, do I get extra lift? You know, like how?
You can sense. You get sense in the car. Like if you buy an S class,
Yes, an
Mercedes, S
S-Class,
class Mercedes,
yep.
you get different smells. You
Yep.
can pick
Shit.
from.
BMW 's-
Time out. Wait,
What? So you get like 4 or 5 different perfume bottles in the glove, like hidden behind the glove box,
and you get to choose.
and you get to choose what you want, and then you can also choose what colors you want, like the interior to be. So, you
Yeah,
can
so
do
my
like
Riz game gets to go up.
yeah, you get
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
like you can do like an ocean with like a light blue LED or like on the trims and everything.
yeah,
Oh,
you know, like
That's fucking crazy.
you know,
and then you can turn on the massage
on
feature on the chairs.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah. Massage
Oh yeah,
chairs.
Massage.
massage chairs.
I can
Yeah,
get it warm
ventilated
before
massage.
and after dinner.
You can
Yeah.
you
What?
can heated seat, cooled seat, massage,
You
everything.
even got like cup hold like warmers.
A
like,
cup hold warmer and coolers.
and
Audi
with-
Audi does
yeah.
the cooled cup holders. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then like even some car manufacturers make refrigerators and stuff
In the glove
there.
box,
In the glove box, like
you can get a
What?
key from the glove box.
Yeah,
put,
you can-
put your Glock in there.
Yeah.
Hey,
If you
John
jump around.
John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so like I think it's just like it's really really cool honestly. So I think just in general like these like car manufacturers and the engineers that's putting so much
Dude.
time and work into these cars is like I guess like that's why like innovation's like a really big thing in like cars and why a lot of
Yeah.
people
That's what
appreciate
people look
cars.
like when you
Yeah.
buy when you're gonna spend 60, 70, 80,000 on a new car. You're like, okay, what's different? Why do I pick this one over the other one? And kind of to speak on that culture thing, I also wanted to add, like, speaking from an Eastern European perspective, all about the BMW, the BMW,
Yeah.
Mercedes. Like, you got
What the fuck is that?
BMW.
It's all about the German beaters. You buy them cheap, you tune them, all this stuff. I'm curious though, in the African American community,
I knew he.
why does Chrysler have such a grip over you guys?
I don't even-
Detroit.
Is it a Detroit thing? Like the
American
Dodge,
made,
all
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Just
Because
American made?
I think like when it comes to like Americans like car companies like I think a lot of like at the time in the Midwest they'd employed like probably like 60 or 70% of like people that lived in those areas I
Mhm.
believe. And so like I think when people talk about like oh like why are you guys not like fixated on buying like Japanese cars, like you guys know that they're reliable, or if you guys want something luxury just go with the European cars. But mainly it's just tied down to like certain roots where like people essentially like their families and like generations worked at these factories building these cars. And so like I feel like a lot of the times is people have genuine connections, again back to the whole personal thing, is just like if their parents drove a car and they had no bad experiences, they have like personal experiences where like they enjoyed the car or any of that factor, like I believe like I mean it wouldn't deteriorate someone away from it. And so like I feel like that's why um American car does also need their appreciation too, because they've held the backbone of like the economy for a while too, especially for families like in certain areas where these factories were. And so like I feel like a lot of people do hold a pretty deep appreciation for American cars, especially when it comes to manufacturers.
And I think that's why American muscle cars hold their value so well to
Yeah.
a certain point, because a lot of Americans want that traditional old school. They want that 75 Mustang, apple green, whatever. Like
Yeah.
they want
Yeah.
these old school traditional cars that kind of, like you're saying, perpetuate this culture that they've seen. I grew up in this car. My dad had this car. My grandparents had this car.
Yeah.
They had the Oldsmobile, 72 Oldsmobile. And so, like, I think when we begin to go back to that culture piece, like you're talking about, and Koss was saying, I think foreign cars in America do great to younger generations.
Yes.
But I think when you talked about old school cars, they go back to a lot of our older folks' childhoods and memories and all that. So you begin to tap into like, some of those nice, the Plymouths and your,
The
Cutlass,
the
your
the
Cutlass.
grasp that Corvettes have on old white men.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense, but
Yeah.
you so yeah, no.
So I had a question: Is Kia American brand?
No.
It is South Korean.
I was gonna say Korean.
Okay, never mind.
Which South Korean back in like the 90s was like, don't buy South Korean. Now, dude,
They're pretty
dude,
innovative.
they're doing better stuff than Nissan, and I would say even
Nissan is what?
Honda.
Nissan is what?
Nissan's Japanese.
Nissan's Japanese, yeah.
Okay.
What's Hyundai?
Hyundai is
Uh,
South
Also,
Korean.
yeah, South Korean too.
So Hyundai and Kia are the
Which-
same company.
Mhm.
Hyundai owns both of them.
Well,
Well, isn't Infinity?
Infinity is Nissan's luxury
Luxury
brand.
brand.
But I thought, oh yeah, Korea. Okay, they're
Yeah.
both from Korea.
never
Yeah,
mind.
so-
I have some words, but
So then you have Hyundai, Kia, and then the luxury brand of those two is
BMW.
No.
No, it's Genesis.
Okay, Genesis.
Genesis
so
is a luxury
Hyundai
car.
used to create the Genesis.
They,
then-
yeah.
and they-
Hyundai used to create. It was just a model,
Yep.
and then they just made a whole brand out of it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's their like luxury brand. Now.
Yeah, so I used to own a Genesis, sort of 09 Honda
Ooh,
Genesis.
okay, okay.
It was
the OG those are good. man.
V8 twin turbo, nice. It was super nice. I crashed it.
Wait.
No, no.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't about to shame me. I was at a dealership and
Yes.
BMW, like Hyundai, like had BMW like under it. So yeah, stop it. Stop it.
Used
Yeah.
cars, aftermarket. I think
The only thing I could make a connection there is that the new product designer or head of design for Hyundai used to work for BMW.
Really?
Yeah, someone.
what I can say.
Yeah, I think like nowadays, especially with like European auto manufacturers, they're leaving their positions a very high positioning, just to essentially rotate over to another car manufacturer to essentially elevate the
Yeah.
their
Of course.
company. And so like to Kasi's point about like essentially why like these Korean cars are essentially like been on the map and like have grown so exponentially within the last like I want to say like 5 or 7 years.
Definitely 5-7.
Yeah.
They've been building it for
Gen-
like I almost feel like a decade.
I
though.
feel like Genesis is really competing with a lot of
Dude,
those
Genesis,
top-
I will probably go
top
back
brands.
to I will go back to Hyundai because they're dropping that new Ioniq 5N performance car that's all electric, and I'm like, dude, that's sick.
Hey,
Yeah. And so like I think like just them like having that positioning to like be more creative, and I think like just them being as like artists too, like they essentially engineering the future. And so when you
Mm.
look at all these like cars, they're making them so affordable, but yet you're combining that luxury feature and making available for more lower and middle class income for them to experience the luxury. And like you
yeah.
cannot beat that when it comes to just like in terms of like making it more accessible, especially with just all their technology that they've been kind of inputting. A lot of their base model standard features are some features that you have to pay for European cars, and like I can't
100%,
even lie, like that's pretty shameful from like a company
Yeah.
standpoint of like just making it so it's like not accessible. But I understand why like these companies are trying to essentially compete with each other in terms of like features and trying to like push innovation. It's just because a lot of these manufacturers now have so many great engineers and like people that actually work in the automotive industry that are just pushing the envelope. And so every manufacturer is just pretty much on their toes in terms of just innovating and making sure that they have the best product that's available right now.
And I kind of want to talk about that. So like Robert, for example,
Don't be
You got
snitching.
the-
don't be dry snitching on the
you got
internet.
the
Don't be dry snitching
no,
on the
no, no,
internet.
no, this is gonna compliment you. You got the
Honda.
the Hyundai Elantra, right?
No.
Which one? Tucson.
Hey, whoa.
Tucson?
I be driving when I be driving.
Okay,
You've
well,
already,
whatever. Robert,
talked
what-
about it on the episode. You know that.
No,
right?
I didn't say the brand.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
All
you
I'm gonna
did.
say is
It was like
Robert's
4
car,
episodes
which is
ago.
a Hyundai midsize
Fact
SUV,
check.
has more technology than my BMW does.
Really?
Oh, it does?
Uh-huh.
Ha!
Like,
Yes!
Like for example, Robert, when you
In your face!
when you turn the turn signal on,
Yeah.
you get a camera, right?
Yeah,
that
damn.
sees your
Yeah,
that sees from your
yeah. Wait a second.
Innovation at its
so
finest.
he gets cameras every time he turns the turn signal on his dashboard, showing him his blind spot from his mirror.
That's dope.
I don't have that.
safety features.
I only have blind spot monitors. I think you have heated and cooled seats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only have heated, and stuff like that. Like
that's
they're delivering value at a lower price. And then something else to talk about, like with features in German cars, like BMW now, if you want heated seats, it's a monthly subscription.
I know.
Are
They're,
you
Oh,
they're-
shit.
Yeah.
My
Like,
body.
They hit
Like,
him
so
with
what
the
they're doing is-
Spotify.
Before it'd be like it,
yeah.
Yeah.
So before it'd be like a button, and if you didn't get that feature, it just wouldn't have that button. Now the button will be there no matter what, but to unlock it is a paywall.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
if you go to
crazy.
a tune shop can, break
Wait.
that paywall for you real easy.
Allegedly, yeah.
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 That's crazy.
Beamer Works, Northeast
Yeah.
Portland. But yeah, like it's just stuff like that. Like now I have a monthly subscription to heat my ass up in my car.
Yeah.
Really?
Crazy.
Yeah. It's like it's not cheap too. It's like $15 a month.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Question. So you do aftermarket cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how is the aftermarket car industry grown, and what is the significance of the aftermarket in the before market?
Yeah, like so I think for like the aftermarket, like just from the perspective of like the last like kind of like 20 years from like the early 2000s to now, like people have like been just in a sense like able to just kind of like essentially pick and choose like pretty much what they want to work on, and like with YouTube and stuff too, like I think that allows people to have so much information when it comes to aftermarket. And I feel like a lot of people in general too just have more accessibility. I think like back in like the early 2000s, like stuff like that was like kind of hard to get because either Japanese like aftermarket like companies or were the only ones making it, or essentially it would just cost a lot of money. Nowadays, like you have a bunch of companies that are innovating new products, and people just in general just like pushing the level in terms of like just what's being put out there, like either for like quality or just in terms of pricing. So like people are just like allowed to pretty much modify their car any way possible. And even now that I think about it, I was just like, when you look at it from like information too, like I think AutoZone and like all these like auto shops, like just like your, standard like kind of places where you would just pretty much like pick up replacement parts, like people didn't have the internet to rely on to figure out like certain like things. Like I think in our shop we talk a lot about forums. Like that's like a place where people legitimately like ask questions and like try to essentially help each other out to basically figure out a certain problem.
To this
Especially
day.
until this day, people
I
still use
will,
them.
like when I had my old Audi, if I had an issue, I'd go to a forum about some guy that posted back in 2010 about how
Yeah.
to fix the issue that I'm having, and I'm like, God bless you, man. You
Yeah,
just saved
and-
me like $1,000.
Exactly. And so like I think the information being readily available, but like the immersion of so many aftermarket companies like just being like affordable, and just also like the level of quality that's just increased over like the like last couple of decades, like it insanely improves like how much more you can do to your car, how you can take care of your car, and then just in general too, like a lot of people I feel like feel more comfortable actually working on their cars. Like I think a lot of people actually wouldn't mind taking their hand at like fixing their cars, or like, I know as simple as just like changing an oil. Like feel like nowadays like people actually feel like it's like an accomplishment to do it. And I think that's like a pretty big milestone, because dealerships charge a lot of money for certain services like that. Granted, like, those that don't have time to obviously service their own cars will pay for that type of service. But I mean, if like people actually like want to just like do it themselves, or a DIYer, the aftermarket, and just in terms of like performance and also just like maintenance and uh just preventative stuff, like has grown so much that like people nowadays can, just a average Joe can just pretty much work on their car, have so much information available to help them do that
Yeah.
service or that essential job.
I just did that. I just changed the spark plugs on my car the other day.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like the second time I've done it, so it was pretty easy the second
There you go.
time. So it was pretty cool.
So I'm dead ass. I'm dead ass. You be dead ass for me. So like, for men, like, what is the bare minimum should a man should do when it comes to cars? So like changing the tire, spark plugs, oil change before. Like, what do you think as a car guy? Like, you're like, he's coming in and be like, hey, I need my tire change. You're like, huh, that guy.
Honestly, like I want to say like just a basic oil change, like and just like small like preventative like maintenance on a car, like spark plugs, changing oils, just making sure,
Lights?
yeah, like headlights, fog lights, anything that just revolves around like stuff like that keeps your car like running, and just safety purposes. Like changing bulbs is pretty important, just because like to stay on the road, i.e., like if one of your taillights are out or something like that, you can get pulled over and get cited for that, and that's not really fun getting pulled over. And it's just in general like that type of like stuff is like not really a pleasant experience. So like just learning the basic like tasks to just kind of upkeep your car to basically for it to stay on the road. Um, will get you by. I think a lot of the other like services and a lot of like stuff like aftermarket or performance related or anything that's like more than just the run of the mill like preventative maintenance will essentially take more know-how, and like that you can kind of pass it off, because that is stuff that you're going to need specialized tools. Like so when we work on certain jobs at the shop, we have to get certain tools that they're not going to be readily available, or if you wanted to have a go at your car in terms of fixing it or like upgrading it or doing anything performance or market related, you do need certain special tools, and sometimes auto shops have it, sometimes they don't, or certain, I guess, like manufacturers have like certain tools that you have to use that's proprietary to the car. So it just really depends on what car you choose, but I know like Kasi would know this, but like the oil filters on those certain cars will have like a certain sizing that you have to get, and so like
I'll be honest. I don't change the oil on my
yeah,
BMW.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I
Yeah.
don't change my oil is because to change it, I have to use I have to rent a tool
Yep.
that sucks the oil out of it. I can't let it drain. It doesn't drain because it's backwards.
Yep.
Because it's German. It has to be that way.
Yep.
So for me to change the oil requires me to get a tool that then I pump and it sucks the old oil out, and then I change the filter, and then I put new oil in. But I can't. It's not like like an American or a Japanese car where
Right.
I just
Yep.
yeah. I've done
Let it
that
run.
before. That's fun. That's 40 minutes, 30 minutes of on
Yeah,
a
your
Saturday.
time. Yep.
No, I will not. I refuse to rent a tool to pump oil out of my own car.
Yeah.
I'll say this: you don't have to change your own oil to be a man. You don't have to change your tires, all this stuff, but just know when that stuff's due and take it to the shop. That's as long as you know, like, hey, every 5, 7. I'd say they say 10,000. I don't trust the whole 10,000 miles on
Yeah,
an
I
oil
don't
change.
either. I think it's
I
just
do every 5.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
But
like,
I drive more performance, so it's going to burn oil. It's got a turbo. It's naturally going to burn oil. You're probably good every 7,500 miles with your car. I'll give you an example.
I have more features than yours, and I just figured it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It does.
brag.
It does.
Yeah, how about that? I appreciate y'all saying this because I'm gonna keep it a band. You know, I'm the voice for the voiceless. There's some men
Oh yeah.
who be looking at that car. Now I'm different because I'm a YouTube shit because I'm arrogant and I'm stubborn. It's like they feel less of a man because they can't do certain things. Because I'm just saying, let's keep it a band. If you know how to fix a car, you know that's your entry point to be like, hey, you know, I see your tail light out, girl. You know, I can fix that. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
So no, I appreciate y'all sharing that because I feel like there's a lot of like barrier of entry when it comes to car stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like when you open up the hood and it's like
It's a daunting task. I think
Yo.
I think a lot of people just get
Fine,
like
man.
very well, one, I think like the most biggest thing is, and I think everyone values it, is time. I think not a lot of people are comfortable putting in time in their car, especially if it's like 30 minutes, about 2 hours. It could be longer. The thing is, working on cars is you never really know what's going to happen until you pretty much get in there. And so sometimes it's not really like a fun task once you figure out like a 30-minute job is actually going to take you 4-hour jobs. Like it's just, that just really depends on your level of like expertise and like how well you can kind of go around your car and like maintenance it. But I think that the thing is that why you don't necessarily need to do all that is because that's why we pay people at dealerships, or we pay people money to essentially service their car. That's like their livelihood. They
I'm
went to
keeping
school.
America's economy running.
Yeah, and so like yeah, essentially like like those people went to school to do all that stuff, so
Yeah.
they're experts. And so
Exactly.
just like in any other profession, like if you had a certain expertise in a place, like you would go to that person. So like that's why I don't find it you're less of a person if you can't change your own oil, you can't do anything. That's why we have people with expertise in certain professions, because they are the person that you go to and answer for, and they will probably help you out a lot more than you trying to Google it or like YouTube it, because that's their
And
skill
that's
set.
why I
And if you
respect
break it, it'll be even more expensive to fix.
Yep, that's the worst one. If you
Yeah.
break your stuff, that's like even worse, because you go to a place and you're like, hey, look, I tried doing this by myself. I messed up.
Yeah. And
Can
then
you help me
it's-
out? And like
yeah.
it's gonna be kind of an awkward conversation, because you're like, well, how did you do that? And like they'll be like, yeah, I did this, that, and like it didn't really work out that well. But I mean, when you generally look at it though, like that's why there's people that are experts in their profession. Like, you know, like, so I definitely appreciate that, like, there's people out there that can answer your question if you don't have the right answer or you don't. And it just goes for every profession, not just only in like automotive or just like, just automotives or like cars and anything just for this specific topic, but like just like doctors and like lawyers and business people, entrepreneurs, like everyone has a wealth of knowledge that they're just kind of willing to share. So that's why, like, based on who you hang out with or like who you ask for service, that's the level of expertise that you're gonna get.
Ah,
Do
shit.
we have a fact dragon alert? Whoa!
Whoa.
I just ran outside, and that's her car, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a Honda Tucson. 'Cause you said that on episode 94.
Ah, fuck these niggas.
6 minutes and 39 seconds.
What did I say?
How are you
Try
doing
to-
this in
what
the
did I
back?
This is weird. What did I say? What did I say? I called it.
Sorry,
I called it.
That's really
What did I
impressive.
say?
Wait a
Time
second.
stamp and everything. They got the
How did
receipts.
you
Got
fucking
the
time
receipts.
stamp the fuck out of that? I hate these guys.
Holy fuck.
Oh shit! I didn't call for a fact check. I ain't call for a fact check. Wow. You know what?
So-
fuck off.
There's nothing.
I
You should be proud. That's a great fucking car.
Yeah.
All I will say is, yeah, fuck you, RJ. All I will say is, you gotta respect
Oh my
the genius people now. You know, we don't expect those, those iPod people. You know, they be trying to help us. No, the genius people. I
The
don't
genius people. What?
because you know how many
Oh.
times when my Mac
Oh.
be fucking up, I be in Reddit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what
Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you saying that shit
Yeah, yeah.
because, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not like I'm like a middle tier, like handy guy.
Mhm.
Like, I YouTube University the fuck out of shit. And you're right. Because when I be breaking shit,
Way worse.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck, I should just
Yeah.
fuck. I fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so no, I appreciate you saying that because I feel like there's like a barrier of entry to a lot of these things, and like
Yeah.
that makes people feel small. Like, oh, I can't do this or anything like that. But no, I really appreciate that, gentlemen.
Yeah.
So I have to ask this question. I wrote it down. So you have like the good mechanics, and then you have the get over mechanics, right? So talk about this fear or push away from going to the mechanic shop because of those get over mechanics.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you wanna?
Yeah, I mean, like,
You
Yeah,
do a lot of your own work though, right?
yeah. So I mean, like most of the time, like I do mostly like my own work, but I mean, there is like that sense where like if I can't get something done, then I would like go to a mechanic shop or like try to ask someone with more expertise. And like I think the part is that it's really intimidating, is because like again, it kind of goes back to like the wealth of knowledge. Like if you essentially don't know what's happening to your car and stuff like that, people get really intimidated. You know, if they start talking about like, dude, like one of your cylinders is out and like your car's like leaking fumes, like everything is like spilling out. Like that's pretty terrifying for someone that like, doesn't have like a lot of knowledge in cars or just in general. When you get like to the point where like, my car is something is really wrong. Can you please help? And like it's making these type of noises, and like, they're diagnosing it and they just list out a bunch of stuff. Like I think that like really much like frightens a lot of people. And so like I think like most of the time is people are okay with just being like, okay, I'll just fork over the money because I don't know, or I'm assuming this person actually has the right knowledge. And sometimes that's like really scary because like you could be forking over a lot of money for something like that doesn't take too much time of research, or like I guess like more or less if you kind of knew a little bit more back knowledge on it, then you can kind of like have like a little bit like skepticism, questioning, so then that way you're not getting like screwed over, or like you're not in the not like unknown about like certain thing that's happening to your cars. There's a lot of people just kind of like take it there, they just kind of be like, hey, like you do your job because like I trust you, and then they do it, and then they come back, list a bunch of things, and then like now you're just worried about your car. Or people just in general are like, okay, maybe I don't. It's like I'm good. Like I know the problems in my car, but I'm not gonna go with it. And they take their car out of the mechanic shop and they just kind of go about their day. And so like that, like fear of like just pretty much like not knowing what's going on, or just like when someone has like that power to essentially like dictate what you're kind of essentially like hearing, it gets like slightly a little bit intimidating, especially for someone that doesn't know about that certain type of like knowledge. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use mechanics more frequently. I am a car person in terms of I love to work on cosmetic stuff myself.
Mhm.
Performance, maintenance stuff, I let the professionals take over. I'm handicapped. Anyways, so what I do when I look for, any type of work is I specifically look for places that specialize in that type of car. So if you have a German car, there are abundance of German automotive shops. A lot of them specialize in BMW or an Audi, or I've gone to BMW specialists. I've gone to Audi specialists. I've been to these people. There are the ones that specialize in Japanese cars and Nissan specifically and all this stuff. I would look for those first off, Reviews are really important, and if you're in the community, you can ask around, and like the word gets out where like good places are and where bad places are.
I'm actually going to piggyback off of AJ. So this is very interesting. I love the question. So for me at least, when guys be talking cars, I'll be like, yeah. They say some shit that I don't understand. I'll be like, yeah, Y equals MXB plus square. And I'll be like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I say some dumb shit like that. So I'm just curious, what are mechanics regularly getting over on that it's not like $200 $300 to replace the brakes, but they're telling you that. So I'm curious. I want y'all to dry snitch on the industry.
I'll give you a hint of one I got extremely overquoted for.
Yes.
Transmission fluid. Transmission fluid is tricky. If it depends on the car.
So,
Yeah.
shit.
I took my Audi S4 2008 V8, older car. That engine is beautiful, but it is problematic. And I was like, you know what? It might be time for a transmission fluid change. I'm sure the previous owner hadn't done it yet. It was an automatic transmission too, which I didn't love, but that was part of it. I got quoted $900 to get my transmission fluid change, and I was like, whoa, what? And he's like, yeah, that specific engine requires us to actually drop the engine. So he has to take the engine off, like down. They have to drop the engine, and then they can to get to like the actual transmission. So then where they open it up, drain out the fluid, put the new fluid in, and then put the engine back up. So like it's a 6-hour job.
Damn.
Do I believe that? Partially. I do think 900 is an over quotation for that. Maybe 4 to 5. I think is more realistic. I'm sure they just didn't want to take it that day. They didn't want a 5 to 6 hour job that day. They were probably booked, so they were like, "Okay, well, here you go. Here's $900 if you want to pay it."
Okay.
Yeah, I think like
Interesting.
fluids are usually like I want to say that's like usually like the one that a lot of people always kind of like get slightly overquoted, or like just in general when it comes to like changing fluids and stuff. Like, it's definitely like kind of one of those things where like people are like, it could be a really easy job or it could be a very difficult job.
Yeah.
I was working on our shop Porsche, and we did all the transmissions, fluid, and we did a bunch of other fluids. But basically, like, I could understand why someone could charge a lot of money for that. But I was just like,
What are you using? Liquid moly?
I don't even know, honestly. We just bought like the OEM replacement. I
Yeah.
think it's just for purpose of just making sure like, whatever they require, they require. It's with Porsche cars, we really try not to like buy other stuff just because
That's
like
fair.
because I think we
Those
want to
things are
just put
touchy.
like we want to put like the original stuff back in, or just like updated, revised like versions that are more upgraded. So like, yeah, certain jobs for like that, where in terms of like liquid and like fluids and stuff like that is like very like kind of one of those things where like people are always like, why am I getting charged like
Yeah.
a lot of money for that?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like, like I think like
Oh,
certain TikToks and stuff like talk about how like an oil change from Mercedes is like $150, and I was just like, okay, well, like when you think about it, I was just like,
it's not that bad.
it's not that bad, but I'm also like the fluids and like the materials alone should probably cost you 90.
Exactly.
And then like everything else is like, because they have all the tools, it's like
the
maybe
tools,
like
the labor, they
yeah.
pump out. They have to pump the fucking oil out, as explained. They pump that out. The oil itself is 90. So that's why I'm like, when they quote me like 120, 130, I'm like, you know what? The oil itself is $90.
But when they start piling everything on, dude, that's when it starts like.
I'll say the
increasing,
number one
yeah.
thing never pay for: wipers. Those are the easiest thing to replace. Go to the store, buy the wipers, change them yourself. Because they will overcharge you at the dealership for OEM wipers, which are the shittiest ones you can buy. Go to Auto Trader, buy some Bosch or some Rain-X wipers. It takes literally 5 minutes. That's the one thing I'll say. Don't change your oil. Don't change your oil. Take it to a shop, whatever. But change your wipers.
Yeah, just like little like add-on, like little like things that like it's like miscellaneous stuff that they can like kind of like pretty much like.
Or like cabin air filters.
Yeah, cabin air filters, or like
Oh my god.
sometimes like they even like charge for like washes now because like
Dude, that's
no,
the
no, no.
that's the
And I was just
greasiest
like,
thing.
and I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, that's kind of crazy
Yeah.
because like I thought that was like complimentary based on like certain
Yeah.
dealerships and like
That's-
luxury places, but
I'll call him out.
yeah.
Cooney BMW tried to charge me for a fucking wash, and I told him no, I'll wash myself.
And so like yeah, there's like little like tad bits and
They're
like
oh,
I
it's
think
just
like
$20, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, what?
Yeah.
$20 to wash my car?
Yeah, and so like it's just like little tad bits and like little things that like kind of like are like little miscellaneous add-ons for like certain things that they will charge you. But you know, it just really depends. Like I think like more or less like the point of view that I think like for service like in dealerships or just like any mechanic shop in general when you're looking at it is just your time. Like do you think your time is worth it to, you know, fuss around try to figure out like this for like 6 hours? Would you rather pay someone else like $200 just to figure it out within 1 to 2 hours? That 4 to 6 hours of you working on it, you could have minus the 1 or 2 hours. You save yourself 4 to 5 hours. That 4 or 5 hours, if you did your like 9 to 5 or you had a certain job or you're an entrepreneur, that's money you could have made or possibly made in that time frame.
Yeah.
And so like that's like the mindset that I kind of have now as like just kind of working on my own business and stuff is like allocating time and then convenience and then just like how much do you value your time. I think a lot of time is like people um look at it as like kind of like a costly thing in terms of like monetary value, but like look at it also in terms of your time. Like do you think it's a lot easier to just pay someone to just do it within like 30 minutes or 15 minutes? Or would you rather just try to do it yourself? And I think for me, like just even working on cars in general, like I want to learn because that's just part of like my DUI, like kind of like background that I want to essentially just try everything and just like soak everything up like a sponge, you know? And so sometimes I might go through all those like hardships of working on cars and like it's not fun sometimes, but I generally do seek enjoyment once I finish a certain job.
Yeah.
Like, personal story. I like literally was talking with my dad about like something was wrong with his van because he's owned it for a very long time, like 150 miles. So it's pretty beat up, and he uses that as a beater and like just like kind of a car that he drives from work all the time. So his alternate goes out, and then he tells me he's like, "Hey, look, like I don't think you can change the alternator." I was just like, I'm low key doubting you, and I'm just like, well, that's totally fine. I don't really like, you know, I want to like learn how to take it out, and also just in general, like I'll save you a couple $100. It's because of my time, like you know, I was just like, it probably might be like it was quoted as a 1 to 2 hour job, took about like 4 to like 6 hours, but you know, I would rather sacrifice that time because I'm doing a service to my pops and he saved about $600 or $700 because when he got quoted, it was like $600 or $700. That's $600 or $700 that I saved, and I think we only spent like 200, and then my hands, and then you fix it, right? So just as a consumer and just in general, like as a like when you look at your time and stuff, like always look at it from like a value of your own time because I was willing to give up my own time to fix my pop's car just to save him a little bit of money. And plus it's like my pops, like, you know, I want to make sure that his car's straight, he can get to work. And like that alone in terms of me working on my dad's car was enough to value my time to save him $600. Like,
That's
so
dope.
when
like that story.
people so when people like, you know, say like it's like, yeah, this is a lot of money for like a certain service, I'm just like, well, look at it in terms of your value of time. And then if you feel like that's like worth your time, I would just spend the money because you could have been doing something else for that certain amount of allocated time. Especially like when you own your own business, you're an entrepreneur, or you're like a go-getter, every second kind of essentially counts.
Absolutely.
And also just in general, like if you value your time a lot, definitely like that's why we have experts in certain fields, because they know what they're doing, they can get it done a lot faster than some other people. And so that's why like you pay for your services, but also value your time though.
So what is, you know, we've been talking about cars this whole time. What is your dream car?
Ooh, my dream car. I think Kaz kind of knows. I'm a big like kind of like BMW guy just because of my parents.
I thought you were gonna say Porsche.
And Porsche too, I'd
Yeah.
say. So I have like two, and they're kind of very similar in the sense of like why people like them. So like the Porsche that I like would be a GT3 RS. Is high revving, NA, just a very very aggressive and like sleek looking car. You know, like it looks kind of like the same as like most 911s until you realize that it has like a wing, has a couple other aggressive arrows. So you like,
Yeah.
if you kind
What's
of like look at it,
What's
it's like
MSRP on that one, just for the people listening?
oh, dude, I don't even know. I think if you had all the options, it could be close to like $250,000.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money.
Oh,
A
wow.
$250,000. Like it's a lot for a big dough kind of car. But I think like
quarter million too, and it's like
it's
it's
like
not like a super car if you look at it.
yeah,
Like you can get a Ferrari for that money, for example.
yeah.
But the Porsche is gonna treat you so much better.
And I think you can add a little bit of tab bits within that $250,000. You know, like if you just bought up a straight up a car
And the
that they
Porsche
just
will be like perform better too.
yeah, perform better. And then in terms of BMW, an M3 E92,
E92 M3.
same
That's good.
thing, high revving V8. It's like kind of like their rendition on just like that whole era where every luxury brand was doing a V8. And so I think like if I had to choose one out of the three, I'd probably pick the BMW one. I think it looks classic, timeless in terms of like its aesthetic. And overall, like I think like the cabin itself is
Mhm.
very driver oriented, which
Yeah.
I really
Mm.
appreciate in terms of like just if you enjoy cars, like I like a car that's made solely for the driver.
And
Just-
it's a V8 with a manual, which
Yeah,
is
and a
just
manual
very
too.
hard to find.
Yeah,
especially
so
nowadays.
any preference of a car that is like a dream car would have to be a manual transmission. Of course, there's no shame in terms of like driving a manual or auto. I think a lot of people in the car community kind of talk about like, oh, like you're a car guy and you only it's like and it's like and you drive an automatic, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's like no. I think if you just enjoy your car, no matter what transmission, it doesn't matter. I just have a preference in terms of like
Yeah.
what I prefer. But I think those are like the two
Those are good choices.
yeah, two dream cars that I would
Choices.
definitely own, hopefully within my lifetime. If not, I'll probably take the BMW because it's a lot closer in terms of
It's a little cheaper.
attainability and
Yeah.
affordability.
They're going up in price though, those motherfuckers.
Yeah,
those
I know.
Ether- they used to be like 15, 20. Now they're
Yeah.
like 30,
30,
35.
yeah, like a good, nice
appreciating
condition
in
one.
value.
Yeah, they're
That's the thing.
yeah.
Rare cars that people want now appreciate in value.
Yeah.
So some cars aren't at depreciating value.
yeah. Most of them are depreciating, but
A
like I
lot
feel
of them
like-
are.
Yeah, a lot of them
are.
But I think like certain cars,
Certain special
you can
cars.
kind of maybe make a little bit of money. I mean, people are kind of making a decent amount of money selling their old car back during
With
the
COVID.
COVID era.
Oh, yeah.
And then, they got a brand new whip. And I was just like, hey, man, you finesse the system. So like, it's just like,
There
hey,
you go.
like good on you. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like it just depends on like your outlook in terms of like what you need the car for.
Yeah.
I think just some people enjoy it more than just like a machine. Like people
100%.
like, yeah. And so like, I think just it's your perspective of how you look on it.
Shout out CarMax.
Yeah,
There
CarMax.
you
I
go.
know.
Shout out CarMax.
Do you know my dream is? My dream car? My attainable dream?
Oh,
I think I've told you.
I think you have told me it is. I know one of them. If it's not the correct one, but I know one of them at least. It's a Mercedes C63 AMG, the V8, the W203.
That's almost spot on. The Black Series
yeah,
specifically.
the Black Series.
That's the car that made me fall in love with with cars. Really,
yeah,
like
Black people?
2012.
and
I
it's
was
the
a kid.
same. It's same era as like the E92.
Same era
so-
as the E92 BMW.
Yeah. So.
When I saw that car in Top
Turn,
Gear, I
bro.
geeked out.
Stick over here.
Yeah.
I'm not turned. I was like, I'll say
I was
what
having a good time.
Yeah.
I am actually
time.
I'm having a fantastic time.
Yeah.
I love how y'all getting so specific details with these
Yeah,
cars.
sorry,
I'm-
like you guys. I'm sorry.
I
This is
get-
probably. I'm trying to like broaden it out,
Yeah.
so it's
Like,
like
I'm not
kind
gonna
of
lie.
understand.
They said 6 cylinders, 16 decades. I was like, I don't know what the fuck they talking about.
All right, let's bring this back. So we talked about the car aspect for quite a while, actually. But there is, there's another. That's only half of really the aspect, and we don't have to go. We don't have as much time to go into the second half. But I want you to talk a little bit why clothing specific to the car community.
Yeah, I feel like just in general, clothing in terms of like just car people, I think
Just like bums.
I would say that they just don't really in a sense like I don't know if that's like their first priority. So like one of my I guess like business propositions of like why I wanted to start it is that a lot of the times people are spending a lot of money on car parts or aftermarket parts, or they're just spending a lot of money on their cars. Just as like a car person myself, like I spend a pretty decent amount of money on my car. But just in general though, like it's just a lot of people spend their money on their car, but like we want to focus on like making something that's automotive like / like motorsports inspired, that is like affordable in a sense that like it's obtainable to people. And it allows people to kind of essentially entering the culture, whether if you have a car or not. I think like the thing is that I feel like at least like most people can appreciate like a nice car when they see it, right?
Yeah.
So like when I look at cars and then look at clothing, I think a lot of times when it comes to the consumers, it's just giving a certain avenue that people can kind of be in the motorsports industry or automotive industry, be involved in the car community without having to actually necessarily own a car, or if you already own
Or
a
put
car,
money into their car.
yeah, you know, essentially give a way that if someone was prioritizing their car, they're allowing themselves to kind of immerse themselves in other parts of like the culture, like in terms of like clothing and like music and stuff like that. We're just one avenue of that. So
Mhm.
just allowing people to just have another avenue of expressing themselves, especially in the car community sense. I know clothing is probably not the first thing that they prioritize, is more probably actually buying car parts, but like that's why we want to intersect within that avenue.
Interesting.
What would you say, let's say for car people normally and people purchasing your product, what would you say is like the thing most car people are like looking to buy, or like apparel wise?
Apparel wise, like usually most of the time it's like hats and t-shirts. I think the thing is that I feel like hats is like a pretty accessible and like low barrier and like low entry to barrier like kind of product. And so
Mhm.
like most of the time is like people always wear hats. Even if you're not a hat person or per se, like there is at least like one style or one clothing of article in terms of a headwear that somebody might enjoy. Whether if it's a beanie, it's a like a 5 panel, it's just a snapback, strap back. There's a lot of like variables, and that's like in terms of like the clothing industry. That's like why like you know you have so many people with different like clothings and stuff like that. So like I think like hats is always usually the first one because it's very low barrier entry to and just to get into the brand, buy into the brand, and just in general like have a piece of article from the brand itself. The other thing, t-shirts. I feel like everyone always wears t-shirts.
Yep.
So like I think t-shirts is a great way to kind of essentially just like support the brand or just like wear it around. And you wear it for everyday wear. If you can wear it for like exercising, you can wear it just to kind of lounge around in. If you actually want to wear it out, that's like another thing too. So when I look at these two articles in terms of like clothing, I think those two, generally speaking, are probably the two that a lot of people gravitate to
Yeah.
at first. And then, you know, for the fashionistas, they might go for the pieces that are a little bit more,
The Roberts of the world.
you know, they pop out a little bit more, or like they resemble a little bit more personality. So essentially, like it just whatever floats your boat, honestly. And like the thing is, too, is like clothing is kind of one of those topics that a lot of people, you know, I think a lot of people are really like into it or really not into it. But for me, like my biggest thing is just wear whatever is comfortable. Because as I kind of like learned over time is that like a lot of people, especially that are people that are like, you know, like fashionistas and stuff like that, like sometimes they're not really comfortable. And like it sucks because like you know like they're pulling off a fit, they're looking real good and stuff like that, but it's not very comfortable all the time. So I think like for me, like finding that balance of like looking real good, feeling really good, but also being comfortable, and just wearing like clothing that you feel comfortable in. So I think like a hat and a t-shirt is very easy for people to kind of just in general like get into a brand, whether if it's like our motorsports apparel like company, or if it's just like H&M or any of that stuff, you know, like it goes from like fast fashion all the way to like, you know, your niche and like boutiques and high end stuff, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got something for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set the scene for you.
Yeah.
Because they don't think I know cars. I know cars.
Okay.
Please set the scene.
Anthony Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, there we go. Anywho,
So close.
Where's
Where's he from? Where's he from?
Europe.
Africa?
Europe.
Yep.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
But
Do you
it's
know
a
where?
specific.
Damn, he's from the
Don't look at me.
he from that one place where there's that that one
What language does he speak?
man, he's Ted Lasso. Shit. Anthony Hamilton's the singer. He's definitely not French. Come on, bro. He's Dutch sometimes.
I think he said that something.
Yeah.
What language does he speak?
Man, he be speaking all of them. Duolingo, you know,
gosh,
he
he's
he
British.
sponsors.
He's
I
British.
see. I be telling you, he British. You know what I'm saying
Sometimes.
Yeah.
When he's
That
probably
might be one of
arguing,
the funniest things you've said.
maybe when he's arguing with Max Verstappen, he
Yeah,
probably
maybe
turns Dutch,
maybe
I
against
guess.
Max, he'll throw in a couple Dutch
Yeah,
words.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we want to definitely talk about your brand and all the things. So I guess my curious question is, if you had him
Mhm.
and you had the opportunity to be with him and he got to showcase, no matter what he wears, it's going to go viral.
Mhm.
What's the one piece in your clothing closet you would want for him to have to showcase your brand?
That's a good question.
Ooh. You know, it's like our most popular product, but our Renegade and like Engine House collaboration for the Have More Fun tee. He's a very like bright personality type of person, you know, like I mean, if you follow any of like the F1 like culture or just the community in general, Lewis Hamilton's kind of been like the shining star of like who they want the brand to represent.
He's kind of like the LeBron.
He's like the LeBron.
Yeah, he's
You know,
British.
yeah,
He's kind of getting
yeah.
up there in age now, so he's
Yeah,
not winning as
you know,
much.
He's not winning
but
as
he's
much,
still
but
like
he's
really,
pretty
really
top
good.
tier talent. But I think the thing that a lot of people really respect his cultural significance is that he values a lot in terms of like innovation and like for the culture. He started a program for people that are minorities and like teens and like younger adults to get into F1 and just in general like motorsports racing. And he gives out like scholarships or money to people to essentially like be on the team, and they'll like apply and essentially just kind of like be a part of his like small group that he kind of mentors and like grows, kind of like
Yeah.
how you guys mentor each other. But it's pretty cool because like, you know, just like just in general, like he's a really big personality, and I think like that T would kind of like sum up like, you know, of like how he would just carry himself, you know, have fun. Like it's
You don't
just,
have
you know,
Lewis, but you have me. I wear that shit
yeah,
around.
I know exactly. So yeah, so like just in general, like I think that sure applies to like pretty much like a lot of people. But that's mainly the reason why like I think that's like probably one of my favorite products, is just because like no matter what, even if it's not related to cars or anything, just have fun. Like, you know, this is like have more fun. I think like happiness is like key to like you kind of like living your life and stuff. And so like a lot of people, you know, have ups and downs and stuff like that. But at least if you're having fun during all that, like all like the roller coaster moments and stuff like that, that's something to appreciate. And he's, I guess, like more or less in a motorsports perspective, he's more bigger than the sport. He's a very shining icon of like what people think like represents F1. And so like that's why I would tell him to be like, hey, you should get this t-shirt because I think it represents you as like a person in general. So I think just in general, like that would probably be a great piece for him.
So my question for you, what is your message about Engine House? Like, what is your message you want to send with Engine House to people?
Yeah, so my message is just kind of like from either like car culture. I think, you know, just enjoy it, immerse yourself, like get into it, learn from a lot of people, learn from a lot of like the people that's been in the culture for a long time, because they have a wealth of knowledge that they would love to share, just solely because, you know, like they've probably were at the same spot as like everybody else, just starting out. Then they kind of figured out like, hey, like working on cars is really fun, and like you know, like working on cars and then just basically building it, you know, making it their own is kind of like something they share. And so like when you look at other people that like kind of do the same thing, you know, like you want to kind of spread the knowledge, and also spread like in terms of like the love of like what you essentially really enjoy. And then secondly is to like from like a business perspective is like always, I guess, like in a way make sure that like you allow yourself to be like kind of positive and like support other people's like dreams. Because I think as like a business owner now, like I see the importance of supporting small businesses or people that are trying to achieve something, because the main thing is that like it kind of goes back to the thing that I was saying earlier, that like time is very valued and stuff. So like you give your time and your energy to things that you value. And so like when I look at it from like our branding message too is just like we value cars in general, but we value the community, and we also value like just like the connections that we make to people on a day-to-day basis and stuff like that. Especially if you don't like cars, or like if you're not really knowledgeable about cars, like, you know, I'm always able to like, you know, spit a little bit of knowledge about cars, or at a certain question, like, you know, just in general, like my time, like I value it, and so like I want to essentially like for the things that I value in life, and the things that like both the brand and also just in general, like for people, like I want to give my time to the things that I actually enjoy.
Before closes out with my final question is, because I want you to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we play no games here.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay, great. So you can't lie, okay?
Yeah.
If you lie, I'm gonna know. I have mind control powers.
Yeah, you just read everyone like a book.
Actually, I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
If I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty good at it. Zay got me on a different planet. But anywho, I gotta ask, what's your street racing record?
Ooh, street racing record. I've lost more times than I probably won. Yeah.
Andy!
No, it's honestly my car's just pretty slow. I mean, but just in general though, I mean, I
respect
appreciate
the honesty.
Yeah, it's slow. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like I remember one time a guy in a Porsche 911 Turbo S.
That's not even.
It's like.
It's like
you know,
me versus Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, it's like,
in his
you know,
prime.
like, yeah, basically, like when you talk about
to-
levels and like just in general, like cars, like that's like you're comparing like Michael Jordan to like what, like Raymond Felton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
like,
much.
yeah,
shit.
It's a
That's
pretty
disrespectful.
it's a large gap, right? And you know, but I think the thing is that like that the reason why I enjoyed that time of losing, because you know, like he pulled up, and like
He saw you enough to be like, all right, let's.
he acknowledged me. Then we went for a little bit, caught up to him, and he gave me a big thumbs up, and he said like that was pretty cool. And he was an older gentleman too.
Yeah.
So obviously someone that is probably like more accomplished and like, you know, like has like a nice car because he's worked hard for it and stuff like that. But just the significance of just being able to recognize like that car is probably not the fastest, but the fact that I looked over you, acknowledged you as another person that is like probably into cars, went at it for like maybe like half a mile before this guy was pretty much like gone, and the only thing I could see was his taillights. But then pulling back to then give me a thumbs up and smile when it's like what, like 9:30 like at night or something like that. Like that's
a dub. That's a win.
That's a win for me, even though I completely lost. But I think that's like the positivity. That's the positivity, and that's like the thing that I value is that with the car community is that like if this guy that clearly is like, you know, like an MJ and is giving time to like hang out with Raymond Felton, like that's kind of crazy, you know, like so like that's why like you know, hey, New York's Nick legend, but like, you know what I mean? But like just in general though, like I think that's like that's super cool, and that's what I live for.
That's
you know?
what we need more of in the car community too. Too many people care about horsepower numbers,
money, and like
yeah.
who's got the status of like the cars and stuff like that. But I just genuinely enjoy like looking at cars, like driving cars. And then just talking to people about it. If you show me your
Civic you bought for $1,000 that you've plasti dip yourself, but you put the hours into it, I'll be like, hey man, that's awesome. I respect that. Or if I go to a Cayman GT4 Porsche and I'm like, yeah, it's a $200,000 car. That's really fucking sick too. And I talk to the owner and he's actually a cool guy that's into cars. That's same experience.
Yep.
It's dope.
Not gonna lie, I need Duolingo to translate what you just said.
Anyways, my final question, Andy. If you want to talk about it a little bit, I know you've talked to me a little about it.
Yeah.
The goal of Renegade, Engine House, possibly some coffee.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like what is the when you see it down the road? What do you see it coming to be?
The dream is to open up a retail space where it's like has like pretty much all like the functions of like pretty much what we want in a brand. We obviously want to enlarge the shop and like essentially have more space to do our projects, research and development in terms of like the platforms. We also have other aspects in which we want to kind of like grow in, like either like a coffee shop or a little boutique, just something to allow people to kind of immerse themselves in, you know, like a space where like it's a little bit more safer, where you can see people working on cars or talk about cars. Also, we like video games. So I think honestly, like an arcade or some sort of like
Sounds like a
simulator where
college project we worked on.
yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Back in the day,
yeah,
remember
like
that?
So like like a experimental retail space that allows people, if you're not into cars or into cars, to essentially kind of immerse themselves into like a little niche. Especially when we like foster and harbor like basically like that culture and like the ones that we want to essentially like kind of grow into. uh that's like what we want to essentially do, is we want to just kind of keep growing it within the community, and then also in a sense like allow people to kind of like come together and like also just in general um feel it out, like even if you're intimidated, like we want to make a welcoming space, like a cafe or an arcade is like pretty like accessible to people and stuff like that. And just like also just in general allow people to have another fun space to kind of be around in, because I would like to say like um we try to have fun when we work, and just in general like when people like to have fun when they work, or just in general if like they like having fun, I want to basically foster that. And so like it's like a playing no games, like it's just like we want everyone to have a good time. And so like when we look at plans of like expanding out or doing a retail space or like doing like coffee shop or arcade or something like that, like we want it to be pretty inclusive and just allow everyone to just essentially enjoy what we enjoy pretty much.
Yeah.
So like we love coffee, we like love video games, we love cars.
There you go.
What about like a garage
Mhm.
that's a coffee house and people can come work on their own car there?
Yeah, I honestly, I think that would be a pretty cool concept. Like from a business owner mindset, the first thing that kind of pops up is like the legality part, like
liability.
the liability part,
The
right?
lifts.
And so like yeah, like maybe like that probably would be like something that like I know some certain I know there is a place out in like Tiger that does like allow people to essentially use their lifts. It's like an open garage where you can just kind of work on your own stuff. They provide all the tools and stuff that you rent their space out for a certain allocated time. But like yeah, no, honestly, like I know in Japan there's like even like a drive-through grocery shop. Like your car's literally in the middle of the grocery shop, and like you can get out of your car, grab the groceries, swipe the card, get back in your car, and then just drive off. And it's like literally like it's kind of like a plane hangar, if that makes sense. A small
Oh,
plane
wow.
hangar. So like they literally would just drive through, pick up their groceries and stuff like that, drive out. And it's like really cool too, because a lot of cool cars will pull up and like grab their daily needs and whatnot. And so I think that's a really cool concept. And so like I think the only thing just from a business standpoint is just like the legality and like the liability part. But yeah, no, I definitely when I look at certain concepts and just in general, like I just want to make it so where people feel like it's not a garage, it's just a place to like come kick it, hang out and stuff like that. And then also um just allow people to disconnect like the whole like mechanic like shop, like you have to know the lingo and all that stuff, and just be like, yo, like you're just trying to kick it, come through, get coffee, or like play a couple of games, like play a little racing game or whatever and stuff, so people like can kind of talk about cars and stuff like that in general. And then clothing will still mainly be one of those things where like if you want to be like a fashionista or like buy cool clothing, like I always will probably, that would probably be like probably the main attraction for my personal like kind of like growth in the business and stuff. But just in general though, just some place where people can kind of hang out and have fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
My man, thank you for hopping on.
yeah, thank you for
Appreciate
having me. Yeah.
Please tell the people, where can they find you? Where can they find Engine House, Renegade, all that?
Yeah,
Socials.
so Instagram, so for our shop side it would be Renegade Motorsports underscore. Engine House is just Engine House, so it'd be ENJINHAUS, spelled like that. And then my personal one, if you guys want to follow, is Andy Dior with 2 R's. So yeah, otherwise our pages are public to open to look and
There
see
you
and
go.
like kind of
No
working
need to
on what
follow.
projects just in general. But like yeah, like we keep track of all of our projects and do like progress updates on certain things that we work on. But just in general though, like we love just making content just to keep people in the loop of what we do.
Hell yeah.
Because I think that a lot of shops in general, people want to see what you're working
Yeah.
on. So
100%.
and then, yeah.
Where's your shop at?
It's in the Hillsborough area, so it is just via appointments. Right now, we're just closed off for our time being because we are working on finalizing our projects to basically go to a huge convention up in Seattle called
Oh, wow.
Wigfest.
That's dope.
So we are just essentially bunkering down for the next like 3 or 4 weeks right now, so that we can finalize everything and hopefully make a pretty big showing out there.
The 9/11 going up?
Believe so. Yeah,
Hell
we.
yeah.
I mean, I did a little work on it today. So like
Yeah.
we're working on it, but yeah, no, I'm really excited to see where we take this brand. But just in general though, like it's just one of those things where like I want to essentially start, and then just kind of more or less turn it into a business that like I can kind of more or less like just do my hobbies and then just kind of like make a living off of it, but like more or less like allow people to kind of see in that world like what's going on, and just work on cars and
There you go.
you know be true in the true entrepreneurship, just doing stuff on your own time, instead of
Respect.
you know just working a 9 to 5. But that's kind of generally like what I kind of see in it, just being a full entrepreneur.
There you go.
Well, not gonna lie, I'm off it today.
My man. Every time.
I'm not gonna lie.
You couldn't help yourself.
Actually, shout out to Johnny. You probably ain't gonna watch this episode, but goddamn, this was 2 Christmases in the making. This shit was fucking smooth. I'm not gonna lie. I've been here for most of this interview. I'm not gonna lie. I produced some great questions that I want y'all to know. I don't think I would have produced those questions without Zay product placement. Andy, let me tell you something, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I actually know what I'm saying. I'm under control. I know what I'm saying. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Haus just said thank you. He just said a wonderful thing about what he's about to do with his 9/11. All I'm saying is, look here. I appreciate you coming through. We'll just say this. I want to say thank you so much because you have definitely supported the show, commented all the things. I really appreciate that from one business owner to the next.
Yep.
Many thanks. And I, hope this is not the last time you're on.
For
I
sure.
really love what you're a very pure soul. And I think one person said this, and I'll at least just end on this, is like, no, Russell said this. He's a rapper.
Mhm.
He's like, people say, how you do business is a reflection of you, and I do actually believe that. So how you do business is a reflection of who you are as a person, because bad business reflects as you're a horrible person on the inside. So you've talked a lot about inclusion and involving people. So I just want to say I really appreciate that, because that reflects the person that I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Thank you.
I like to say thank you. You've inspired me to do more work on my own personal car. I've already put a lot of work into it, and so I want to continue to
Hell
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think this conversation kind of gave me the confidence to do that. So I want to thank you for that. Not only you inspired me in many different facets of just I have a curiosity about cars. I'm not a big car person.
Yeah.
But this just tapped into that fun side of things. So thank you for that. And when your shop does open, please let me know, because I would love to pull up
Yeah.
from a time to time.
We'll let you know next
even-
car meet if you want to come
Yeah.
by, see some cars, talk
Absolutely.
to some people, see what it's like.
Absolutely, I would love to. Yeah, man. So thank you for everything, and thanks for being on the show, man. You're definitely a kind spirited, kind heart, and I 100% respect you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
100%, bro. Thank you. Love
Yep.
you. More people need to hear your voice. You got a lot to share.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
thank you for coming on.
No, yeah, I appreciate you guys just for sharing your airway for me to kind of speak on like my business, and also just in general, like talk about topics, burning through curiosity. But just in general though, like I appreciate what you guys kind of do, giving a platform for people to kind of speak on, and just in general too, hitting on the real play no game topics. So for sure.
Oh, you said you
Yeah.
got saved. I had a couple of them.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say this. We got to.
Next time maybe we'll get Marion on, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's a hell no. That's a hell no. Or were you really in Paris? I don't know. I had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I had some. Hey, I'm a master
Yeah.
journalist. You know, I had some questions, but I think I had to save them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you like what we're doing, hit the bell, like, subscribe.
I'm
All
fucked
the
up.
above.
I'm not gonna lie.
Dollar sign.
I'm not gonna lie.
Dollar sign. Hero.
Bob.
Nigga, donate some money. Shit.
Jesus. All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, follow.
He's embarrassed.
Until next time. Take care.
Peace.
Probably wondering if I think of you. Sorry, I'm for the bag right now. Yeah, I'm for the bag right now. Yeah, for the bag that I never had. Yeah, you probably mad right now. Yeah, I got a 2-piece now. But shit, I think they call them groupies now.